So apparently now you need a manual to learn how to turn off the PlayStation 5. This highlights the problem I have again with this new age YouTube 25 to 35 year old fucking morons who know exactly what they're doing to get hits, to get subscribers, to get ad revenue, because YouTube is their quote unquote job. And you out there are not getting information. You're getting your emotions played with so that you comment, so that you get angry, so that you retweet, and you subscribe and engage. This is the problem. If you want actual news without any spin, if you want insight from somebody who's been playing games for over 30 years, there aren't many people out there doing that. A perfect example of this is Hades came out. My last video I talk about it. It's the high watermark for rogue-like games. If you like those games, you're gonna love Hades. However, as somebody who's played games like that over and over and over again over the course of years of gaming, of course I'm gonna be a little bit burnt out by it, and I might not have the same reaction as other people. That's the biggest issue. A lot of the people doing this now are young, so genres that are new to them because they've only played maybe 2 or 3 games in their lives in that particular genre are much different from me, because I've played those genres when they were birthed all the way up until now. So my perspective is a bit different. And I don't care about subscriber counts or engagement. Would it be nice if I had more subscribers? Yes. Would it be nice if more people commented and asked questions? Yes. I think that will happen in time, but I am not interested in being an asshole and saying things like, hey, I need a degree in electrical engineering to learn how to use a friggin' screwdriver, because clearly that's meant to get you engaged, to get you enraged. Engaged and enraged is going to be my new mantra when it comes to YouTube gaming. I just don't get it. So that's something that I wanted to talk about here. Of course, if you need to learn how to turn the PlayStation 5 off, here's what you do. You go to the little button that says power and you select off. Yes, I know it seems incredibly difficult, but it's not. So that's the first part of this video, something I wanted to talk about, but we're going to move on to the topic at hand. So everyone knows who Michael Pachter is. He's the analyst who makes predictions, and most of the time he's wrong, sometimes he's right. But here's another thing that drives me absolutely crazy. An analyst who looks at the PlayStation 4 being over 115 million units sold and decides to say that, hey, PlayStation is going to support PlayStation 4 into 2022, 2023. It took an analyst to figure that out. Anyone with a cursory knowledge of video games, let alone someone who's been playing games for over 30 years, knows that. Of course, they're going to continue to support PlayStation 4 into 2022, 2023, but they've already released exclusive games on the PlayStation 5 that are doing extremely well. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart saw a 313% boost in sales just last week in the UK, and Spider-Man Miles Morales continues to be a top seller as more and more PlayStation 5 units are made available. People are snatching up that game, as well as Ratchet & Clank, and of course, Demon's Souls, the remake for PlayStation 5. But I found it incredibly interesting that we needed an analyst to tell us if we jump into the water when we get out, we're going to be wet. Of course, PlayStation 4 is going to be continued to be supported This is nothing new. It happens every single generation, transitioning early on from one to the next. If you've lived through these console generations like I have, this is not news. Yes, there are more titles being cross-gen, but that's because budgets are astronomical now, and they're looking to recoup as much money as possible before they go all in. In this article that I'll link, where he makes this bold prediction, he says that once hardware manufacturers get to 10 million, 15 million units, then it becomes more feasible. But again, Sony has just hit 10 million. PlayStation 5 sold faster than any PlayStation console in history, faster than any console in history. So the exclusives are coming for the PlayStation 5. You don't need to be an analyst to figure that one out. Some interesting news pertaining to Game Pass and sales of actual games versus subscribing to play them quote unquote for free. Hades just launched. It was a big deal. Game Pass day and date. However, boxed physical copies of the game, number 8 on the charts, the UK charts. 70% sold on the PlayStation 5, 23% on the PlayStation 4, and only 7% of physical copies were sold on the Xbox. This doesn't take into account digital, but if 70% of physical were on PS5, add in some digital, it's even higher. If 23% of physical sales were on PS4, add in some digital sales, it's even higher. And if only 7% of physical sales were on Xbox, how many people on Xbox do you think actually bought a physical copy of Hades with Game Pass? Game Pass is a subscription service. It's a service. It's not meant to replace people purchasing video games, and that's going to become a huge issue for Microsoft and third parties if it continues. Now, Ratchet and Clank on that same chart, number 10, 313% increase in physical sales without counting digital. Spider-Man Miles Morales, number 12, 101% increase in physical sales without adding in the digital sales. So I think Game Pass is great, but at some point the audience has to remember that it's not just about subscribing and waiting for good games, because great games aren't going to just come to Game Pass. There are more games that are not going to come to Game Pass than games that will come to Game Pass. You can't create an audience that isn't going to purchase anything anymore. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. Share out. At the very least, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.